So, hello and welcome along to Series 2, Episode 3 of the Actors Toolkit. Big shout out to everyone listening online. Today, we are joined by someone a little bit different. We are joined by the lovely Steve Bradshaw from TV Cops. Steve, how are you doing?
I'm very good, Jamie. How are you?
Not too bad at all. Not too bad. Excited to delve into this. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about you and what it is that you do with TV Cops?
Okay, well, I think I'm best starting with my experience. I was a police officer for 27 years, a good 20 years of which I was in the police firearms world, both as PC, sergeant, inspector, firearms instructor, firearms tech advisor, and initial tactical firearms commander. And before I retired last year, became a tactical firearms commander. So I always say, if you want someone interviewing for a murder or something, I'm not your man. But if you want a plan putting together to go and arrest the murderer, I am your man. So policing is very specialised nowadays, and you'll find that there's many different silos of work within policing. And my area was firearms. So I started dabbling with some acting in 2016, 2017. And although I was never that guy when I was on set who said, "Oh, I used to be in the police," or "I'm in the police," as I was then, I always found that I was being asked questions, or I would answer a question that the first AD or the director wanted to know, especially on quick-paced jobs like Coronation Street, Emmerdale, where everything's done at a very, very quick pace. Just getting the little things right, which helped them a lot. And from there, I thought to myself, there's maybe a niche in the market for some police advice business. So once I retired, I started TV Cops and offered police advice to TV and film, which I still do. So TV Cops initially started off as police advisor, and then it kind of morphed into also including the firearms courses for actors, because again, it was actors coming to me and saying, how can I improve, or what can I do? Because I was finding I was giving police advice on set for firearms drills, and I was having to very, very quickly give inputs of how to do a very high end tactic, and having like half an hour, three quarters of an hour to do it. And I thought to myself, it'd be really, really good if there was a core of people who could have this skill or wanted this skill, and who could put it on a CV, etc. So I just started off a couple of years ago, myself and another firearms commander who had left the police, a guy called Mark Mottershed, who I will say I won't be able to do any of this without him. It's really been a team effort between us, especially the firearms courses. And we started devising the courses from there. So TV Cops is two legs, really. One is general police advice. I have experts in many different fields of policing, whether it be family liaison officers, firearms, public order, major incidents, just general CID kind of work, down to the really digital forensic specialisms. And so currently we have over 400 years of policing experience between us all,
Wow.
offering different experience in those different silos, because not one person can do everything or be an expert in everything. And some of the things I have to advise on are very specialized. So I just call on the relevant expert in that area, and
Fantastic.
we take it from there.
Excellent. So the training that you do at TV Cops, how does it differ from real life firearms training? Obviously, it's geared towards actors, but what kind of things make it different?
Well, we've always said to make it realistic on screen, and I will stress that it is a firearms course for actors. It's not just a firearms course which we just happen to have lots of actors attending. It is a firearms course for actors. The biggest difference between that and teaching a firearms officer for the police is just the time. The initial course for a firearms officer in the police is 13, 14 weeks long. So I've got a weekend to teach you the basics.
Mhm.
So the only thing different is the time. I, having been a national firearms instructor, run it as a police firearms range, because that's what I'm used to. So all the risk assessments, all the safety stuff, all the pre-activity safety briefs, the way we run the range, all the commands on the range are as if we were running a police firearms range, because that is what we're used to. And that's what we've got years of experience in doing. So there's no point changing it, because if I teach you how a police officer handles a weapon and you're called upon on screen to use that skill, hopefully it'll look like you know what you're doing, because we taught you the correct way, just as you were a firearms officer. But I will stress, we're trying to condense the very basics of a 15 week course into a couple of weekends through the bronze and the silver course. So we stick to the basics initially for the bronze course.
And do you find it frustrating yourself watching TV shows and seeing them doing it wrong?
Uh, it is
Can
frustrating
you tell
when,
straight away when you see it? Can you tell, oh, they've not been trained?
yes,
Yeah.
um, oh, very much so. And don't get me wrong, productions are busy and productions want to move a storyline on. And this is why I really love the work that we do with script writers, because I always find writers and script executives, script developers are very, very keen to get it right. And if the words on the page are right from the start, it makes it so much easier. If you're on set and you're working with someone else's script and the whole scene's wrong or it could be better, it's a lot harder to unpick it on the day, because people are moving on. People are trying to get the scenes done. Time is money and they want to move on. So you do what you can with it. But to answer your question, there's stuff on the TV all the time, which, yeah, is wrong. But don't get me wrong, I've been involved in decisions where, well, we can't wait 3 weeks for that forensics to come back because we need it within 8 hours because the story needs to move along. Or, you have to let some things go. And that's why uh, I think it's really good working with writers and script executives, because you can have those conversations. And, we're not making a police documentary. It doesn't have to be 100%, but there's a lot of easy wins you can do right at the beginning. And we're talking about draft number 1 of episode 1. You're making some changes, and then you're still making changes at draft 13 because something else has happened, or you've told them a story and they like to weave a story into what they're doing. So yeah, I do get frustrated sometimes watching stuff on TV and you think all that needed was there to be somebody on set who knew what they were doing, just to move those 2 or 3 people around, and just kind of, it would take 2 minutes, but it would make it look 100% better. But people aren't making a drama series for police firearms officers to watch. It's for the general public. But I do think that if we show the public exactly what the police are doing, or close to what the police are doing, it gives them a better understanding of when they hear things in the newspaper or on the news. Why have the police done that? Because people's understanding of police sometimes comes from the very small amount of interacting they might have with a beat cop or stuff that they see on TV.
Mm.
So I think there's a little bit of a sweet spot to find between making it authentic, but making it watchable. Because I always say that if you make a police documentary, you'll just show a police officer on the phone to CPS for half an hour. You've got to move the story on sometimes, so you've got to take some shortcuts. But if a cop's watching it, they'll understand the shortcuts if the main chunks of, say, action or process are right. And a lot of the time, it's very easy fixes with the script people, just to kind of change little things, which is really, really good. And it's really good to be involved in that and see things change.
Excellent. Yeah. So if I was an actor that was joining one of your courses, what specific skills and techniques do you kind of focus on when you're training the actors?
Okay, we have 3 levels of courses. We have bronze, silver, and gold. bronze level, which is the first course that everybody does, focuses on two main items. First one is safety on set. We all know about the Alec Baldwin incident on the set of Rust.
Yeah.
The chances of that happening in the UK are small, but I would say that they're not completely eliminated. We have some very good armourers that turn up on set. I always say this, that the armourers in the UK are very, very professional, the ones I've ever met. But I always say, if you're the one pulling the trigger, you need to know the state of the weapon that you've got. So the first thing we do with our students on the Saturday morning is to teach them how to receive a weapon off an armourer, how to check that it's clear, or how to understand what the armourer is doing to make that weapon clear for you. So the process around it. And we show them, we drill it, and we assess them on it. Anyone who doesn't pass that assessment doesn't move on with the course, because safety is the big thing on our courses. So we start off with just receiving a weapon, clearing a weapon, because you might receive an empty weapon. Do you know what that looks like? What are we looking for? You might receive a weapon with dummy rounds in it. Do you know what a dummy round looks like? Do you know the difference between a live round and a dummy round? You might receive a weapon with blank rounds in it. Do you know what that looks like? So we go through that, and we spend the first morning going through the detail of know the state of your weapon, because that's the first firearm safety rule that we really drill into our students. And from there, we teach students the 5 principles of shooting. So, and that's what we do for the next 2 days, just to show that if we teach you how to shoot properly, and we use blanks, we don't fire anything real, if you will. We don't fire any conventional rounds, because an actor won't be asked to do that on set. The most that an actor will be asked to do is to fire a blank, or they might be asked to fire a prop gun and put the bang and the flash in post. But the most an actor will be asked to do on set is to fire a blank round to get the bang and the flash. So that's what we teach. So get used to the bang as well, because if you're playing an officer who supposedly knows how to shoot and you're flinching every time you pull the trigger, it just breaks down that realism, doesn't it? So we just show you the 5 principles of shooting, how to stand, you know, your grip, your sight picture, your breathing, your trigger control. And that's what we just drill and drill and drill. And we do that with a handgun, the Glock 17 handgun. And then on the second day, we move on to the bigger weapon, the ones that you see on TV, what people call machine guns, but they're not machine guns, the carbines. We move on to them, and we show you how to adopt the 5 principles of shooting to the carbine. And then the students are assessed on that. And then those who are successful, we move on to the afternoon of the second day, which we take loads of photographs. We do some videos, because you know what it's like. If it's not on film, if a photograph hasn't been taken, it never happened to an actor. So we provide actors with a reel of about 100 photographs from our photographer, and every actor gets at least one short scene of them displaying their skills, so they can add it to their spotlight or their show reel or whatever they want to do. And our courses are Spotlight accredited, so people can go onto the performance tab on Spotlight and tick our course. So anyone searching for anyone with the relevant experience or relevant qualification can just search under those headings in the performance tab, and it'll bring all our students up. And all our students are are added to our student gallery on our webpage as well. So anyone who's on our site wants to find an ex-student, there's photographs in our student gallery which take them direct to the actors spotlight page.
So what kind of things would you focus on in the latter stages, in the silver and gold stages that might differ from the bronze?
So bronze, we teach you how to handle the weapon and look authentic handling it. So the next stage in the silver course, which again is another weekend course, and we go to the skills house at Wheaton Army Barracks, which is where the police and the army train. And it's tactics. Basically, we teach you the 3 basic tactics of how to intercept somebody on foot, how to intercept somebody in a vehicle, and how to approach and enter a building. And we just build on that weapon handling skill from the bronze course and actually adapt it to some police firearms tactics. And yeah, like I say, we're replicating exactly the same training venues that the police and army use, and the tactics that we adopt towards the building, for example, are very close to what the police have used in the past. So if you're on set and somebody wants to know how to go and enter a door and you've been on the course, you might be that person with a little bit of knowledge that the director thinks, actually, yeah, we'll have you as number one. You're the person who can say the lines. You never know what it might bring you just with a bit of an input. So the full-on days, and again, there's some video footage from the silver course that people get about them entering rooms. We use distraction devices into, the bang and the flash grenades that go into rooms. We use those on the silver course because, again, they look great on film. So yeah, we try and maximize every opportunity that we have to promote you and for you to promote yourself to anyone that might see.
Excellent. So, if you obviously you've been working with actors for years. Have you got any memorable experiences or challenges even whilst you were training actors? Anything you can remember where you thought, "Oh, well, that's going to stay in the head"?
Actually, on the courses, they're on set
Yeah, actually,
because
both. Either. Have you got any interesting stories you can tell us?
every training course brings its own challenges, and they're never insurmountable because the world of firearms and police firearms can be quite daunting to some people. So, we're talking about people who may never have seen a gun before, and we're trying to get them to a stage where they look good on film within, what is it, 12 hours, 2 days worth of contact training. So people will have some apprehension about it, and people will have issues with different parts of it and struggle. But we work as a team. That's the one thing we always say to the students. We have a maximum of 6 students for our courses with a minimum of 2 instructors. So we're able to give that one-to-one tuition when needed and just bringing people along on that journey. So we move along as a team, and we have challenges at every course, which we always overcome, and we spend as much time as possible with our students to get them where they need to be. So people have people struggle with, somebody will struggle with the grip, someone will struggle with pulling the top slide back on the handgun, somebody will struggle with the correct position in the shoulder for the carbine. It can be 100 different things, but we always allow time to challenge it, and we always allow time to overcome it as well. A memorable challenge, should I say, on set was, if you've ever seen the program Wedding Season on, I think it was Disney, we had 2 scenes on that, which we gave police advice, which was the 2 firearm scenes. One is where the cops rush into a house and arrest somebody right at the beginning of episode 1, which is called an emergency, which is actually called a reactive search. And they rush in and they go and get this person, which was fine. And this again shows the level of influence that we can have sometimes on set. The script said suddenly the doors flings open and there's a shout of armed police, and then armed police rush in and somebody's arrested. So even with a conversation with the director, we changed that to armed police, contact, show me your hands. And so we just expanded the lines a little bit to make it a little bit more realistic. The director loved it. The actor who came in first loved it because they got more lines. So it just worked well. But on the same program, we did a scene in an abandoned warehouse. And it was a really technical scene involving some smoke grenades and some flashbangs. The the sound and the light grenades, and I had half an hour to teach this emergency search to these 5 officers in this
Yeah.
scenario. And to give you some context, that would take a week to train experienced firearms officers how to do that. So we just kind of walked through it and blocked it out effectively in the scene, and that was very, very challenging. But I must say, the actors who were used in that scene absolutely loved that scene, because when you look back at it, it's really textbook. There's smoke, there's light, and the officers coming through like a cloud of smoke, and it just looks great. So what can be a very pressurized situation can can reward you with some really good results.
Yeah.
So they're the ones that really that stand out, because, and again, it was the director trusting us to take control of that scene and delivering a product for him. Now, if those people had been on a silver course, they would have a lot more understanding about what was needed,
Yeah.
and it would help me, and it would help them, and it also helped production if we got to a stage where productions are thinking, right, let's get some firearms trained people to do this scene,
Mm.
which is
Excellent.
hopefully where we're starting to go with it.
Good, good. So if I was an actor and I just landed a job where I knew I was going to be playing a police officer with, that was going to handle a firearm, what advice would you give me if I've not trained? What are there any tips and tricks you could give someone?
Um, well, if you haven't got time to go on a course, I would say the what I would do is I'd ring Mark or email us at TV Cops, and we can have a conversation with you over the phone. Just the very, very basics. Or I could try and make contact with the production, who might want us to come on set and teach the actors, depending how many there are, how much time they've got, and what the budget is, etc. But the very basic skills, I would say, is just learn the 5 principles of shooting. And if it means we can meet up for an afternoon somewhere, it would really enhance your credibility on screen, because you never know, one little bit with a few different lines on it, but the first AD clocks that you look like you know what you're doing, might roll into something else. You might be asked to come back, etc. You never know where it may lead. That one shot you've got and that 30-second clip, you need that to be as good as you can. So we understand that, the actors, I'm an actor myself. I understand that you want it to be the best you can. So I'm always willing to take phone calls and help people out or point people in the right direction of
You mentioned
where
there
they need to be.
the 5 steps to holding a gun. What would they be? The 5 steps?
5 principles of shooting.
Yeah.
Basically, work from the bottom upwards. And again, this is a big lesson in detail, but very basically, it's your stance, it's your grip, it's your sight picture, it's your breathing control, and it's your trigger pull.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference between somebody who hasn't had any input to somebody who has had an hour's training is massive, because it's just knowing what's right,
Mm-hmm.
especially the little things like the trigger pull. If you're meant to be hitting a target 25 meters away with a handgun and you're snatching the trigger, anyone looking at that who knows about shooting will go, well, they're going all over the place. That's not hitting the target. And again, it might not matter. You know what I mean? It might be something or nothing, but all you need is the right person to see what you're doing. And for example, you're doing what's the 2-stage trigger pull, what we teach our actors. People will go, that person's had training. That's the person I want on my production, or that's the person I want to come back and continue this character, or whatever it may be. Just it gives you just that added level of credibility that someone may or may not see, someone may or may not appreciate, but all you need is just one person to see it, who's looking for somebody, and that's all we say. And you are giving the best performance you can.
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, it takes an hour, 2 hours to teach somebody how to do the 5 principles of shooting, the basics of it, and then they go away and they practice, and we supply them with aid memoirs at the end of the course, so they're able to refresh those skills. Some students go away, buy themselves a little BB gun and practice. And we always say to the students that if in 6 months, 12 months time after doing your course, you get a job, we will come and meet you. This will all be for free as well. We'll come and meet you and we'll run you through the steps again, because the better you do, the better it is for us. We want you to shine. We want you to show you on TV with the 5 principles of shooting nailed on, because then we can say, look at our student, look how good they are. You could
Yes,
be
free
like that.
advertising, yeah.
Yeah. So once you leave the course, that's not the relationship over. That's where the relationship starts. And we've had many of our students come back to us wanting a little bit of a refresher, or just remind me about this, and we can talk them through before they've gone and done the role with a
Fantastic.
firearm.
It's like an ongoing thing. That's great.
Mm.
So, beyond the technical proficiency, how does TV co-ops help actors embody the mindset and the demeanor of policemen? You know, because obviously the way that they carry themselves and the way that they move, for example, are going to be completely different from the average actor. So, how do you
Mm.
prepare actors for that?
Do you mean police officers in general, or a firearms police officer?
A firearms police officer.
Like we say, everything we teach is as if we are teaching a police officer to become a police firearms officer.
Okay.
So everything we teach them is along those lines, really. So we try and give you the basics of being a police officer. And one thing we always say on day one of the course is, your average police firearms officer isn't what people would think, isn't your tackleberry gung-ho, knows everything about guns, etc. What it actually is you're quite reserved, you're thinkers, you're people who can stop and assess the situation, make a judgment, people who are calm under pressure. So not the people who are kind of running around, losing their head, etc. It's having that calm persona, and that's what we say to our officers. That's the one big thing about the difference between the public perception of a firearms officer and what actually a firearms officer is. So if they go on set, they don't want the, like I say, the tackleberry, the gung ho type. You want your thinkers, people who can assess and make decisions quickly, because any police firearms officer will tell you the last resort is pulling the trigger. Everything else should have been considered, tried, thought of, and dismissed, or tried and failed. Oops, sorry, I just knocked my microphone over. Everything should have been tried and failed, or there should have been some process in place. We've thought about it before pulling the trigger. So who put those officers in that position at that time where someone pulled the trigger? There's all that around it as well. So police firearms world is full of thinkers, should I say, people who are very calm, very measured. And if you lined up 10 people in a room, you wouldn't be able to pick out the firearms officer, because a lot of the time they can be the shy retiring type who just keep themselves to themselves, and like I say, are the thinkers in the police force.
And in your experience, do you think that the casting of actors is influenced by the ones who've had the training? So if they're do you think casting directors look at the fact that you've had training and perhaps push you towards the role over someone who hasn't?
Yeah, the way I see it is, everybody in the filmmaking process wants an easy option. And what we're trying to do is trying to give them that easy option. They don't want to worry about the person coming, even if you're a day player and you're coming along and doing any police role, not just firearms, but you be a day player and you're coming along and you're going to help somebody make an arrest, so you're going to draw a weapon and point it at somebody. You might not say a word. It might be the lead actor who's saying all the lines, but somebody might look at the person and actually, who is them? They want somebody who's just going to turn up, do the stuff, hit the mark, look like they know what they're doing, and then bye-bye, thank you, see you later. And hopefully then you'll log in somebody's mind, they were good, let's keep them in mind.
Mm.
So that's where we're trying to go with it, and we want to try and be an easy option. Because imagine yourself if you were the casting director or the second AD or whoever it might be for a certain production, and you had loads of firearms officers. You're thinking, yeah, we can have people come in and turning up, look the part. There's some people out there who supply the uniforms and make people look like firearms officers, and they're absolutely top notch. You can't distinguish between a real firearms officer and the actors who come up or the essays that come on set, because the uniforms are top notch.
Mm.
But you want people to be able to back that up with what they do, and productions will just want an easy life. They want to get through it, move on to the next scene, because time's money. And if they think, well, we just need to go to the TV Cops website and go down the student gallery, because I know all these people have passed either the bronze course or the silver course, and there's two separate sections in our student gallery. And they will think, well, they've got that training, so they will know how to handle a weapon. They'll know how to receive a weapon. Safety on set will be better because they've been taught how to receive a weapon, because blank rounds kill, and we tell them some case studies about how blank rounds kill. So we just want us to be an easy option for casting directors, and even second ADs looking for some essays, for example, or somebody a day player who got 2 or 3 lines. Come to us, either speak to us direct, go to our student gallery, and or even with the hors d'oeuvre, because the amount of students from hors d'oeuvre that's been through our courses is immense. So you could even go to hors d'oeuvre, and I'm sure if Jordan got a phone call to say, can you send me 6 firearms trained people, he'd be able to fulfill that within an hour.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And
Good.
if you think about it, it's just easier for everybody, isn't it?
Mhm.
The
Yeah,
production
process
gets
a lot
somebody
smoother.
trained. They don't have to spend the money training them, and they know they're going to get somebody who's got above the basic level. So that's
Excellent.
what we're hoping for.
Cool. Have you got any success stories of any actors that have undergone the training and then gone on to actually work as firearms officers on set?
Oh yeah, there's thinking off the top of my head now. We've got your own John Love. John's with hors d'oeuvre, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
He's been in that short film, Something Rising, Ridge Rising or something.
Yeah,
Apologies.
the feature film. Yeah,
The
yeah.
feature film, and he's posted some pictures of him with a shotgun and him with a firearm, and it looks great.
Mm.
We've had previous actors, Leah Baskaran, who was involved in a short film which won some awards. Another one called Andy Heaton. Another student, Janet Lilly, although she has a non-regular role as a police officer on Coronation Street.
Ah,
And again, that was, little things like Janet came to us and asked us about handcuffing technique. Janet came to us and asked us about, demeanor within that scene. And I was able to tell her about, that's what an officer would be feeling, because this would be a job which they would do 4 times a shift.
mm.
So it doesn't need to be all like up here and all giddy. It's a very routine thing that she's doing. So we were able to pitch her performance at the right level of how a police officer would have it. But I saw a picture from one of our students, Paula Boyle, yesterday, which I thought she was holding a gun. And that's the second one I've seen Paula Boyle involved with firearms. So there's something coming in every other day from some student who's been involved in something. And it might start off with a short film that they've auditioned for and they're using a firearm, but that gets on their reel, and that then gets them something else. So it's stepping stones in for something else. But the incidents I told you on wedding season, when we did wedding season, there's an actor called Toby Armour who has done both bronze and silver course. He was there, and a quick chat with the first AD, and I was saying, can we have this person as number one, because they're the ones who know what they're doing. I've got half an hour to teach them. This person needs to be number one. So they got all the challenges, they got the feature part on screen, all because I was there and I recognized one of my students and was able to say, this person needs to be number one through the door. So they got the challenges and they got the line of dialogue. So yeah, there's stuff coming in every other day for an ex-student or other who's got a small part in something where they're using a firearm. And again, I've spoken to students before, they've actually gone on set and just brushed them up on what they're actually looking for, and we can walk through the scene, and I can talk to them about what would be expected of them in that scene with regard to firearms and the handling of the firearms, etc.
Excellent. So looking ahead, final question: what are your aspirations for the future of TV Cops and its impact on the entertainment industry? Where do you see this thing going?
A lot of work within the industry, especially from the specialist side of it and the specialist advice side of it, is word of mouth. And what I found is a lot more work is coming from the script side of it, from script executives, script developers, people who I've worked with before, who are calling us and getting us involved with other projects with different production companies or different networks, etc. So it's all about getting the reputation with the script side of it, with the people who are actually worked with you before, and they know what you can offer, and they know the level of detail that I go into, and the fact that I always say that if someone asks me a question from a script point of view, I'll either have the answer back that day in written form if I can't give it immediately over the phone, or it'll be in their inbox before they get into work the next morning, because people need answers really, really quickly. And it's just getting a reputation for that, getting word of mouth out regarding the script side of it. And again, that moves into being on set when people are actually executing the work that you've done on the script, which naturally flows from the script to the production and the side of it. So that's one side. The other side, obviously, with the firearms courses, is just to get more and more actors through the process. If I can teach more and more actors how to be safe on set and how to handle a firearm and be proficient in handling a firearm, because if you know how to shoot, you'll look like you know how to shoot.
Yeah.
Is what I always say to the students. So the more students we get on screen, which is great for them, which is great for us, and it's just a really, really good advertisement for us moving forward. But yeah, let's get more and more people through, and just get the message out there that it doesn't have to be a big clunky thing having a specialist on set or involved in the script side of it. It can actually streamline your processes, doesn't add any more time, doesn't add anything to your budget overall. It's just a matter of helping us. And with me being an actor as well, I'm used to how a set works, and I'm used to understanding that we're trying to make a drama that people will watch. So I'm quite willing to let things go in certain aspects, but I give the writers, the script executives, the directors my knowledge, and I say, that's what it would look like in real life. Right. Do you want to do that, or do you want to tweak it? And a lot of the time they'll tweak it to fit what they want to do. But we tweak it in a way where it's still right, or it's as right as it can be to fit the narrative. And it's being and understanding that those two things come together really. And we are trying to make a drama and not just a police documentary. So yeah, the future is just, I just think, just keep going, and just get a bigger pool of actors through the courses, and get our students on screen.
Fantastic.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Excellent. Well, Steve, it's been an absolute pleasure. Where can actors find you if they want to get involved with TV Cops?
tvcops.co.uk takes you to our landing page. The student gallery is there. The information about the courses is there. The information about script advice, on-set advice is all there as well. And you can see the past students, and you can see their spotlight profiles, and or you can Instagram, TV Cops on Instagram, or Twitter, X. You can find us there as well. Just drop us a DM or drop us an email at steve@tvcops.co.uk, and we'll answer any questions that you may have.
Fantastic. And remind me again where you're based. It's up north.
Yeah, we're based in Lancashire.
Lancashire.
Our bronze courses take place at Altcar Army Ranges, which is just outside Liverpool, a place called Hightown, just north of Liverpool. And our silver courses take place at Wheaton Barracks, which is in Lancashire, towards Blackpool Way. So we're very northwest based.
Excellent. Well, brilliant, Steve. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Jamie. You too. See you soon.